3. What up, everybody? I am your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everybody.
And welcome back to another episode of the Film Bros podcast. Josh, I never thought that this would be an issue in Hollywood, but I understand money got to go places. A lot of people think, getting something that is more expensive means you're going to get a better product sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Hollywood's no stranger to that kind of tactic as well. The more money you throw into something, the more you expect it to not only be good, but come out with a greater projection than what you put in.
Yeah.
So if you're putting in 80 million, you're expecting double and then more than that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're putting in 100 million, you're expecting double and then more than that. I think that's basically the mindset when it comes to Hollywood. You want to basically double the budget to make sure not only you're making the money back, but you're also making some kind of profit as well.
Yeah.
So apparently Godzilla Minus one director, sorry, what's the name? It's a crazy name. Takashi Yamazaki went ahead and basically debunk some rumors. Now, a lot of people were saying, wow, Godzilla Minus one looks good. It's a banger movie for 2023. It was obviously made overseas and brought over here, made over $100 million. A lot of people were like, how much did you make this movie for? And, sources say it took about $10 to $15 million. Now, that's a far cry from a lot of movies that we see nowadays that take 80 mil, 100 mil, 150, 2 million. The highest one so far that we've heard of was Fast X with 315 million.
My God.
So now Takashi Yamazaki basically said that he's pleading the fifth when asked about the budget. He was asked by Deadline. Deadline even reports that it's closer to 10 mil, not really 15 million, but 10 million that he did it. And when asked if he made the movie for that much, he says that he pleads the fifth, that he would rather not say, because then everyone's gonna want me to make a movie for that number. Now, it goes without having to be said, I shouldn't have to hide how much money it took, because as a director, you should be able to flex $15 million. I was able to do this, and this, while it takes $200 million and it looks like the Marvels, right? So, he could really flex and be like, man, I can make movies for this much, but then studios are going to take advantage of that. They're going to be expecting that. We could start there. What do you think about the price? What do you think about his answer? And
I don't think he needs to flex. It would be cool, but I think that's just him covering his own base about like how much he's worth and all that. Because if we can do good work on a cheap budget, people are going to be underpaying him. But I didn't see Minus one, but I hear it's really good, so I can only imagine that people are gonna want his quality for less, and that shouldn't be a thing.
Okay, so you think he's protecting his piece, basically?
Yeah. Like, we see a bunch of actors all the time talking about, I don't get respect in Hollywood, and we know why. It's because they go out and do bullshit roles and let these studios take advantage of them for whatever, right? Mm. So maybe this is just him doing that for himself,
for directing and all that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way that I see it as well. You're protecting yourself. You're making sure that you're not a cheap piece of meat. You're making sure that there's, if they're going to put money behind you, they're going to put some real money behind you. Obviously, this was kind of like his beginning start somewhere. Really made a name for himself over here. We talked about him going to Dave Filoni and giving him a private screening. Him even talking about that he wanted to make a Star Wars film at one point. So dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
It would just suck if if Lucasfilm came up to him and was like, make a Star Wars movie for $15 million.
Yeah, I don't even think that's possible.
Can he probably do it? He made Godzilla Minus one, which people are raving about, that they basically said it was one of the better Godzilla movies to have come out in the recent years. And that's with Godzilla versus Kong and, Godzilla, King of the Monsters and all this and that. So a lot of people are claiming this movie is really great. I haven't gotten around to it, but eventually I will. And then I guess the other part of the question would have to be, is he being a team player by keeping this a secret? Now, you can say, oh, well, he's shooting himself, or he's protecting himself and making sure that he makes that money when it comes down to it. But for him not being truthful, do you think that would be an issue when people are like, we're we're gonna give you 80 million, but how much of that budget do you really need? I mean, how much of that money do you actually need for budget purposes?
Well, if you're someone, I'm assuming if you're someone like him, you're gonna work with people that are really good and you know what they're doing. So, say he goes to WB and they're like, "Oh, make a movie for us" or something like that, and then they give him that budget of 80 mil. He'll work with what he has, but I'm sure a lot of that will go into more promotion, if anything, especially if you know you can work for cheap or for less. That way you can just be like, "Oh, we wrapped it up under what we expected, put the rest in the marketing, get us a Super Bowl ad if you really want to."
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. I wouldn't say it's not being a team player. It's just more of he doesn't want to be taken advantage of, especially if you know that they're going to pour it in. Then he could just be like, okay, then I will do the amount of work that the money will give. Whether it be 80 mil, 200 mil, whatever, so on and so forth. I think he'll find a way to make it all work.
Yeah, because I think even with like $15 million, that, I mean, yeah, you can make it look real. Yeah, you could do your darnest work. That movie still, like, you can't just give anybody $15 million and they're going to make Godzilla -1.
Yeah, no.
You give somebody $15 million, they're going to make a movie kind of like Blood and Honey over there. So, I mean, only certain people are able to, do something like that. And it's funny that you brought up Warner Brothers because that's going to be kind of the flip side of this coin, where you have Warner Brothers who is shelling out $200 million for a Joker sequel.
Yeah.
Now, most of the people are pointing out, well, Joaquin Phoenix isn't cheap. He's coming back for a sequel. He's probably asking for a good chunk of money, which apparently he's reprising his role for $20 million. Oh,
my God.
I mean, he's getting the bag. Lady Gaga's basically coming in, and she's worth about $12 million. So the rest of that going to what it sounds like just production itself. I mean, I don't know if the $200 million is all around, including marketing and all that stuff. Obviously, this is a sequel. One of the highest R-rated films that was, released in a theatrical capacity. I mean, you hear Godzilla -1, 10 to 15 million. This movie doing 200 million.
Yeah.
Relatively, we got to think how much CGI was actually used in the first film as well.
No,
nothing at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about this weird disconnect when it comes to, paying for movies?
WB has the funds for this kind of thing is what's getting me. They kind of shelve a lot of things. So for them to be paying an actor 20 mil is crazy, I feel, regardless of him reprising his role. I mean, I'm not saying Joaquin doesn't deserve it. He goes through the body transformation, whatever, this and that. It's just more of like, WB can't afford it, so why are they doing it? You know what I mean? And then
they could clearly afford it if they're doing it. Apparently, Zaslav did a lot of cuts.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, Acme and Coyote's still floating around somewhere. So, I mean, I think it just depends on the scale of the movie and who's directing it, because you have the Godzilla -1 director doing it for mad cheap, and then you got people in your movie who are demanding 20 mil on top of doing your movie.
Yeah, Todd Phillips coming in for the sequel. We're hearing that there's going to be some musical scenes, that it's not necessarily supposed to be a musical, but we're going to hear some kind of music out of there. I don't know, man. I think even $200 million for a movie is too much. Now, I know, we have, I mean, you could say that about Joaquin Phoenix getting his bag, but then, you have RDJ, who was in a film for like 6 minutes and made over $100 million.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy too.
You think that shouldn't have happened either?
Yeah, no. Granted, he had a whole universe on his back, and so I can understand where he's coming from. I think that's crazy.
That was
because Marvel is the juggernaut, they can afford it. They just chump change.
Yeah, couch cushion kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Iger himself gave him a check. He was just like, "Hey, here, this is whatever."
Exactly.
I got like 5
6
more.
minutes.
I got 5 more in my fucking drawer right now.
Yeah, insane.
I think there's a big disconnect in Hollywood. I think it's weird that we think that $200 million is worth a movie that really doesn't need any kind of like big budget. Like that's Endgame money.
Yeah,
$200 million is Endgame.
Yeah, that
money.
could have been put into like another DC project,
an Elseworlds film,
something like that.
Something that, Man of Steel, Part 2, whatever, Ben Affleck's Batman. I know a lot of people were clamoring about that. So it's like, you're putting all this money towards a film that doesn't really need it, and then you don't put enough money into a film that needs it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, obviously, they're two different studios. You can't, it's apples and oranges on how they kind of spend their money, but I don't know. I just found it to be a weird disconnect that these two, basically the budget of both of them is a topic of discussion over the internet, and nobody's piecing it together like, this dude was able to make it for $15 million, so why is this dude getting $200 million, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's all insane because $200 million doesn't define the quality, if that makes any sense.
It's the person who's directing the film.
Exactly. I mean, that's why. So if you're told he had a big CGI monster. Imagine if they went like the 2014 route and didn't show Godzilla at all to like the end.
Yeah,
You saved hella money on visual effects and all that anyway. So I can only imagine that $200 million for a Joker movie that probably doesn't have a lot of CGI went straight for the pockets of the two actors, and then production. Which if it's not a musical, I'm assuming that goes to licensing music, set pieces in the movie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That could be big and grand. It's a lot of money for this movie.
Yeah. You think doubling down or kind of over doubling, because I mean the first movie I think was only $80 million.
Yeah.
So them doubling down and adding all this extra money, does that give you good faith for this movie, for the sequel?
No, because it doesn't really change anything. Really, I mean,
were you a fan of the first one?
Yeah, it was all right. I think it was okay.
You haven't rewatched it ever since.
Nah,
I felt like it was like you could watch it once and you were good kind of thing.
Shit was mad depressing. It was mad depressing. Like I enjoyed it because of the story and stuff.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix
does really good.
Portrayal was great.
But
yeah.
that shit is mad depressing. Like I can only watch that movie once in a blue moon, and even then. Like that one, the Batman, whatever. Like I feel they're just the rewatchability isn't there. They are really good stories, but for every once in a blue moon when you really want to
pick it up, it's not like the Dark Knight trilogy where you can pick it up whenever you want and rewatch it. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, because I was a fan of the first one too. So for them to hear that they're putting more money into this, it's like, what if it takes away that feeling that the first movie gave to people?
Exactly.
Right. Because I will say I think it's a classic. Now, do I think it's a classic you can watch all the time? Like you said, no. The same thing with the Batman. I mean, I could admit it's a decent movie. I think Robert Pattinson does really well. Can I sit there and watch it a second time? Fuck no. I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping my whole way through. He doesn't talk loud enough for me. What am I supposed to do? The loudest part of the movie was when the Batmobile was going off. And maybe when he was yelling no. But even then, it was kind of quiet too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean... These movies aren't really so for them to put $200 million for a movie that potentially, think about it, it's gonna lose that. I know a lot of people don't like using this word. I don't like using it either. But like losing that gravitas that the first one gave. I mean, maybe it could be duplicated and amplified to 10. But when you start adding a bunch of extra money and then looking away and not focusing on that one picture and you're focusing on 10 other things. It's not going to have that same feel.
He could be selling out, basically.
What is it called? It's kind of like, I know Deadpool 1 and 2 are great movies in their own right. I think a lot of people like it, but it's night and day. You could tell the difference between the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could tell that there was a little bit more grittiness to the first one. There was a little bit more, the color grading wasn't so bright. Like, you could tell, like, they wanted to go for a certain feel.
Yeah.
And in the second one, you kind of lost that feel in lieu of the brighter, bigger budget, juggernaut, and then it takes those little hits. I mean, that whole highway scene where she's doing that luck thing or whatever, and they're, crashing into gas stations, explosions, like that should look kind of fake, so it kind of loses some of that touch when you go a little bit bigger, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's what comes with the notion of, more money, it's a sequel, we should want to go all out and whatnot. But no, I feel like go all out in storytelling, not visuals, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And visuals are nice, because I'm hearing Doom Part 2 is great. I'm hearing the visuals are great. I'm hearing the story's great. I'm hearing, the whole tale of, like, whatever's happening in that film. I'm hearing it's great. Kind of like The Dark Knight. up Batman Begins 100. I've told you before, you probably don't even need to watch the first Batman Begins to even, get the full story. You could probably just start with The Dark Knight Rises if you really, the Dark Knight if you want to. So there's times where people elevate the second one with more money because they don't lose focus. But then you get other people that get that money and then they lose focus.
Oh, yeah, they could totally sell out. That's why. And doing and all that, that's why. It's all about who cares about what they're putting into it. Mm-hmm. Like if they're really taking the money and they're really putting it back into production, storytelling, everything that's best for the movie, sure. But then you get some people. I don't want to blame them on. I don't want to be the one to blame Joker 2 of this, but since they're the ones kind of at the center of the topic, this movie could totally be something else, and it could totally lose focus of the ball.
Deadpool 2. Do you think Batman's gonna come in out of nowhere?
That would be insane. It would be. I would like to see it.
3 Batman running around.
Well, I mean, assuming this isn't getting a third part, I would be fine with
what if
one and done.
By the end of the movie, what if by the end of Joker 2 you hear or you see in little text the Joker will return in Batman the Brave and the Bold?
That'd be funny. I would be like, wow, they went with this Joker. That's insane. Well, I mean, it's him, and then Barry Keoghan is supposed to be coming back for Batman 2.
Yeah, supposedly, which I don't even know why.
So 2 Jokers.
People like that deleted scene.
I guess
you technically don't even need to bring him back.
It's insane because people were gassing up, and I'm just like, they cut him for a reason. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I know even at the end of Batman, we hear his laugh or whatever, but he was cut for a reason. I don't think we need him. Like, not anytime soon, anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that deformed looking motherfucker. That shit looks crazy. I don't know if people are geeking over him. I don't understand.
I didn't understand it either. I know some people were saying, like, this motherfucker is ugly. Like, why you guys hyping it up? I personally didn't even like his portrayal. Like, makeup aside and everything, I was just more like, it wasn't the Joker that you would have expected, I guess you can say.
It's weird.
So, with that being said, though, let us know out there what you guys think. Godzilla's budget coming in like around $10 million. Director refusing to give away the real answer. Do you guys think that he's doing that right thing? Do you think Lucasfilm will approach him for a $10 million movie? Have you guys seen Godzilla Minus 1? Is it a good film? Are you guys worried about this $200 million budget on Joker 2? Or do you think bigger money means grander things? Let us know out there at our socials. Moving on, though. Linda Hamilton coming out in lieu of rumors and speculation that James Cameron is coming back to pen another Terminator script.
Yeah.
When asked whether or not Linda Hamilton is willing to come back for another Terminator installment, she was very blunt talking to Business Insider, saying, I'm done. I have nothing more to say. The story's been told, and it's been done to death. Why anybody would relaunch it is a mystery to me, but I know our Hollywood world is built on relaunches right now.
That makes sense. I'm fine with that. Her, Arnold, they need to pack it up. I feel like it's time.
Arnold needs to let it go too?
Yeah. Well, I feel like Arnold should let it go way before he showed up in Dark Fate.
I think he should have before Dark Fate, I think before Genesis. I think when he made his exit in Salvation was the perfect time.
I mean, that wasn't even him, so.
No, I know, but he made his exit and they reused him again. I kind of felt like it was kind of like a full circle moment where, you kind of seen him one last time in his original form, which was back in the original Terminator.
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt like that was a kind of like a full circle moment that you could have kind of exited Schwarzenegger altogether.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess what you're saying, because, I mean, they used his model or whatever, the Terminators, and then he's the same one they sent back in time. It's like a loop in itself.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, I get what you're saying. But yeah, I guess that makes more sense. I feel like trying to bring him back because he was in Genesis.
Yeah.
He was in Genesis.
That shit was ass.
And then Dark Fate. I think it's probably time for them to let it go.
I think nobody watched either of them. I think Genesis bombed because people didn't like it.
I think Dark Fate did alright.
I
know Genesis was ass.
No, those both movies were really panned, and I ain't me. Is what other people were saying. They were saying it was a bunch of woke bullshit. So I mean, I don't know what to.
I don't know. I liked it. I think.
I like Dark Fate. Genesis, not so much.
Yeah, Genesis was ass. I'm sorry, Genesis is the worst one.
I like the dude who was playing as John Connor, but he couldn't make it work in this movie. And I didn't mind.
I think out
Fate.
of all the iterations of people playing John Connor, I like
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Bale was good.
Christian Bale, obviously the kid from the second one, and then I kind of like the third the guy from the third movie.
I liked him too for the John Connor that he was, and even his arc went full circle where he was actually like a leader by the end of the movie.
Yeah, he was meant to be like bummy and like down on his luck because he was told about this whole legacy and it just hasn't happened yet, and then it happens and he gets to pick up the role. So I think it all works out. But as far as Linda Hamilton goes, I'm fine with her saying bye. I think we got a perfect ending with Dark Fate. It's just a matter of what will James Cameron do for the next one if he decides to come back. Yeah,
will he even bring back Schwarzenegger too? I mean, hopefully not. I personally think Linda Hamilton should have never came back.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I was like, that was his mother. Yeah, okay, alternate universe. This is cool as like a how do you say, what if kind of movie, I guess you could say. Dark Fate is a good what if kind of movie, but if we wanted to stick to like timeline and everything, same thing with Genesis, it could have been like a what if kind of movie, you know what I mean? What if, which I don't, if I'm noticing it now, both of them were about Sarah Connor.
Yeah,
Genesis was about young Sarah Connor.
Yeah, it was supposed to be pre the first
and
Terminator.
Then Dark Fate is about old Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
I see where people were probably like, oh, this is woke feminism nonsense.
Well,
or
it's
whatever.
tough. I mean, the way I would watch it, because I mean, if I could skip Genesis, I will. So I'd watch 1, 2, Fate, and then Salvation.
Salvation at the end. Well, Fate completely throws everything out the window because technically Fate's supposed to pick up after the second one.
That's why I would skip 3 and I would skip Genesis.
But you'll watch the other two.
Yeah.
Salvation and Fate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 1, 2, Salvation. I
know
1,
a lot of people
2,
give
Fate and Salvation.
I know a lot of people give the third one hate, but I it's a good little what's it called? Guilty pleasure.
Oh yeah, no, it's not like it's too bad, but like for timeline's sake, I would cut it out. It's just the middleman, and so timeline wise, I feel like it makes more sense. 1, 2, Fate, and then Genesis.
But let's be honest
Genesis,
too. I mean, is Linda Hamilton doing anything else?
No, probably not. But I mean, she helped pioneer this bitch too. So
yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think she should just hang it up.
I think Sarah Connor is like badass. Her, Ripley, like they're just badass characters.
And she was badass, but then there was a whole bunch of moments in this Terminator film, The Dark Fate, where she could have been that badass and completely ended the movie quicker. And most of the time, she was acting stupid. So I was like that. I think that was like one of my problems because I think there was like this scene right here where she's on the freeway or whatever. There's a couple times where she could have ended that Terminator's life and it could have been over, and she just she was like, nope, can't. Story needs to go on just a little bit longer.
Yeah, because it's not in the future now. It's not Skynet. It's called something else.
Yeah,
it's meant to be like, it'll always be inevitable no matter what.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they could take a new one. I mean, obviously, just introduce new people. I think it's time we leave the past in the past and we just start right with the war. If I'm being for real,
I think
go the Salvation route again.
I think they should do a trilogy and reboot the franchise. Do a trilogy again. Start off where you basically started. Show us a little bit more of the war in the first movie, I guess. Like have us in that futuristic war, and at the end of it, send back a Terminator. So when the second movie comes around, the Terminator basically is back trying to kill John Connor. We move on, whatever, narrowly escapes or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then we get to a point where in the third film, he's being set up to be that hero that is going to lead the war. And then boom.
So you wouldn't want to see like Sarah Connor again?
I would want to see her, but she would have to be in the second film. You know what I mean? Because
you kind of want what Terminator 2 already does, where like he's already a boy or whatever, or a teenager, or do you want like like the first one where she's like hasn't had him yet.
Yeah. I would say
because I still think
I wouldn't want to rehashing. I would say kind of mix it up both. Like in the beginning, she could be pregnant. Already went through the
time skip.
Yeah, a little bit of time skip, and then we see her with the kid after she destroys the first Terminator, maybe in the beginning half, and then leave it at a cliffhanger where what's gonna happen in the third film, whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's multiple ways to do it, but I think that should be the best way, like a trilogy. Show us the war in the first one, and then them sending the Terminator back.
Yeah.
That'd be cool for the first movie, and then bring in a new Sarah Connor, a new John Connor, and build up from there, and then build a franchise. But I think a whole totally new reboot is in need. After Salvation, they should have just went the reboot route. I don't understand why they were like, oh, let's keep it connected. I think the only cool thing about Genesis is that they kind of try their best to connect with what happens in the events of the first Terminator. I was gonna say Transformers, the first Terminator. When he's like, it's the three dudes that are shirtless that are fucking with him, and they try to like match it the same. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Genesis tries to launch its own thing, but I don't know. I'm not fucking with it.
And then the funny thing to me about this franchise, the need for them to, they would rather explain how this Terminator is aging than them just being like, let's get a whole new Terminator.
It's tough.
I was like, why would you guys like
because human tissue gets old.
For both movies, they did the same thing.
Yeah.
They just made an excuse on why he's old now, and instead of just being like, let's just get a young actor who doesn't age, to play this Terminator, right? I don't know. Let us know you guys' thoughts. You guys want to see Linda Hamilton back as Sarah Connor in a future Terminator installment? Are you guys tired of seeing her? Do you think a reboot is desperately needed? Do you think that just making another sequel that ignores the rest of them? What was that movie? There was a movie that was Halloween. Halloween 2018 where they're just like, ignore everything else.
Well, that's what Fate was technically, right?
Yeah,
it meant to cut out Salvation and 3 and stuff. And
Genesis was meant to cut out Salvation, and then Dark Fate was meant to cut out both.
I think hear me out.
Three of them.
I think a trilogy. I mean, I don't know if it's because of the high that I'm still on from the Planet of the Apes, but get Matt Reeves to direct those bitches.
He directed the Batman. You don't like it?
So, I like what he did for those monkeys.
I like the monkeys. Well, yeah, but I gotta wait to see Batman 2.
Nah, man. Get him to cook with the Terminator franchise. I think that would be it.
Gareth Edwards, the dude that made the creator.
I don't get Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder for a Terminator movie.
Well, I mean, the Terminator already rocks guns, so I mean,
exactly. Just do a slow mo.
Yeah, he's gonna do a lot of slow. He's gonna be like dumping lead into the house, and then Sarah Connor's just gonna like roll around in slow mo.
I really want to like. It really makes me wonder. Like, imagine if movies were made by other directors, like how we know they're meant for that,
like their style and stuff.
Yeah. So like Tarantino does a Terminator movie, and then
he's gonna be Schwarzenegger gonna be like, "Are you feeling lucky, punk?"
Yeah, it's interesting to think about because all their styles are different.
I think what really made me start thinking about that was, man, what was that? It was like a multiversal move. Oh, damn, fuck! You're gonna get mad at me, but it's the Flash. It's the scene that when it's like, oh, Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, and he's like, no, he says a totally different name, and it turns out that in real life that was the person that was supposed to play that role. I know right now we talked about it, but Pedro Pascal was supposed to be in Zegler's new film Weapons.
Yeah.
But because he took up the Fantastic Four role, now Josh Brolin apparently is going to be the lead in that movie. And I'm just like, well, damn, like in a different universe, Pedro Pascal's in that movie. And maybe Josh Brolin is doing something else or whatever. But like, I'm just like,
I want the universe where Adam Driver is Mr. Fantastic.
We
need to crack alternate dimensional travel.
Oh my god. I told you, right? I seen the Klansman.
Oh yeah.
I can't get Adam Driver out of my head after that, bro.
Oh my god.
Like, obviously, I understand that because he does play an FBI agent who's undercover for the KKK or whatever, and it was just like it It was just a hilarious moment that I'm just like, I could never get out of my head anymore.
Sir, your line was "get out of here."
Your line ended after the first word, so I don't understand why you added.
He's method acting.
Did you just ad lib? Like, moving on though, man, we finally got word on what happened to Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17, and apparently, though there's no word on why it was delayed and why it was moved. Yeah. Obviously, we did report that Kong X Godzilla, the new Empire, took Mickey 17's spot. But now we're hearing that Mickey 17 will now be released on a certain day, and that is January 31st of 2025.
Oh, wow. Very good. Right after my birthday.
Yeah.
Mickey 17 for my birthday. No, but I mean, that's cool. Unfortunate that it does get pushed back a whole year. I was still hoping it would have came out sometime
this year for sure.
Because I think I don't know if they like started filming or whatever when the strike was going down.
This movie's been shot and done before that strike happened.
Oof.
I don't know what's going on.
That could be tough.
That
could hurt this movie.
That's one thing that I just don't understand. It says that they made a decision to allow them to finish the movie, it says here that it was affected due to last year's strike and other various production shifts. From my understanding, they were close to being done by the time the strike hit.
Yeah.
And so when the strike came around, they should have been done and then put it out. But I'm guessing if reshoots and all that stuff really needed to happen, I'm guessing 2 months wasn't enough time to get this movie out. I don't know. A whole year is a long time though.
Yeah.
A whole year says a lot. Now being affected by the strikes, I understand to an extent, but I mean, how much of the movie do you have to really retool that you couldn't fix it up in December? Because I mean, the strike was over in November, right?
Something like that, yeah.
December was holidays, I guess.
I don't know what that means for this movie. Unfortunate that this movie might suck.
Apparently, it's like an anticipated movie collaboration.
But it was pushed back, and it was all this and that. And we know what happens to movies when they get pushed back to finish production, quote unquote.
Yeah, reshoots and whatnot.
Yeah. This movie has the potential to tank. I mean, every movie has the potential to tank, but the ones that get pushed back and are quote unquote filtering through to finish production and so on and so forth, those ones have a more likely percentage to suck.
Okay. So with that in mind and hearing what you just said, and I mean, I can agree because I mean, I think you're right. Every movie has the potential to suck, and reshoots and getting pushed back. Though I have a little bit more hopes for a film that stars Robert Pattinson, because I'm just like, I don't think he would allow these people to really fuck with his movie like that.
Yeah.
But another movie that's being pushed back about a whole calendar year is John Wick's spinoff, or Anna de Armas's spinoff, Ballerina, for the John Wick universe. It's getting pushed back from a June 7th, 2024 release date to a June 6th, 2025. A whole year out, and it's due to action sequences that are being reshot, and Chad Stahelski is going to be there, present, when doing these sequences alongside director Len Wiseman, who directed Ballerina.
Oh,
so that tells me...
You're telling me homie was real lackluster in directing those fight scenes.
They seen that movie and they were just like, what the fuck is this? This is not what John Wick does.
Yeah. Homie shit the bed then. He shit the bed, and now they got the OG guy to come in and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you shitting the bed?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I think that's hilarious. Oh, poor guy. Because you're tasked with this thing, and then you got to get the guy from the main franchise down here to make sure you do it right. That's funny.
That's like calling God down.
Yeah. Like you couldn't do this. You've seen the action sequences. I gave you the tools. Just execute. And then he doesn't do it. I imagine it probably has a bunch of cuts. Looks like an MCU fight type deal.
Yeah, a bunch of editing or something.
Yep. And now he's just like, whoa, okay. Clearly, I got
Lionsgate, make the call.
Yeah.
Lionsgate's make the fucking call.
And apparently now Stahelski has to take time out of his day to watch his fuck up. So, deserved. It sucks that we gotta wait a year for it, but deserved.
Okay. Yeah, a whole year is a long time. Like, literally that one's a whole calendar year right there. I think Mickey 17, at least you can get away with it and be like, oh, that one was in March, so it's coming out in January, so that's about, whatever.
Yeah.
This one's from the date that it's supposedly supposed to be released all the way around. Now it's like, dude.
I think it'll probably move up if they finish sooner, but yeah.
Maybe, but, I mean, action sequences aren't easy, and Stilinski's starting up his own production company. Basically, he's doing a lot more stunt work for a lot of other films as well, not just the director's work. So he probably has a full plate, and he's just like, well, this movie's going to have to wait. You said that you guys hired somebody who could do this stuff, and now that you're watching it, you're like, well, this action kind of sucks. Now, all of a sudden, you want me to come check it out? Well, you're on the list. You're on my to-do list. I will get down to there. I have
insane.
Golfing and all this other shit to do before I get down to this fucking movie.
That's actually so funny. That's a funny situation to have happen. Just to fucking... I think having anyone over your shoulder kind of like that kind of sucks, and that could totally impede this guy's...
But the fucking granddaddy of the damn franchise has to come in.
He has to, like, come down from the heavens and help you because you shit the bed. Like, that's funny.
He's just like, you buffoon. He's like... Stilinski's just had, like...
That's how you direct an action sequence.
Exactly. It's like a whole one-shot scene, and you're just like... What the fuck?
Exactly. That's insane.
So both movies being delayed about a year, where it's gonna be a lonely year. Apparently, there's a lot of. It's kind of like what 2022 was like. I mean, there was a good amount of movies, but a lot of the movies were pushed back to 23. And now that we're in 24, a lot of the movies due to the strike are being pushed back.
I know.
To the next year.
That's why I'm watching all these shit movies. It's insane.
Blade, Fantastic Four is coming out, Superman Legacy, Mickey 17 now, Ballerina. We're getting all these movies. I think Dune 2 is like the only movie this year that is highly anticipated, and at least from what I've seen on the roster so far, is the only movie that looks like it's going to come close to $1 billion.
Yeah. Good for that movie. Good for that. I want to rewatch the first one before I see the second one, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. Do you think Mickey 17 and the John Wick spinoff Ballerina is in trouble? Do you think that it's due to the strikes? Do you think that there's something deeper? I mean, the Ballerina spinoff, they flat out said, hey, your fucking scenes suck. Fucking, we need to fix this shit. We're not putting out a movie like this. And now they're bringing in Granddaddy Stilinski to go ahead and get it done. Let us know your guys' thoughts on that. Moving on, though, instead of dropping out of the race that will be in 2025 with Superman Legacy and Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, the new Jurassic World, had its hat in the ring with David Leitch attached to direct the film, and due to obviously creative restraints, he couldn't really make his stamp on the film. They already had something ready to go, shot. All he needed to do was shoot it and tag it and bag it. And he said, no, I don't have enough time to put my own spin on this. This is not my movie. I don't want to do this. You're putting a lot of pressure on me. We talked about this before, and we were like, well, why aren't they moving the release date? They're still going to try to keep that release date. And apparently they're going to keep that release date, because now we got somebody who threw their hat in the ring and is officially set to direct, and that is the creator's own Gareth Edwards. He also directed the first Godzilla film, so we might just get a dinosaur at the very end of the film. We're going to get a bunch of like hints that there's a dinosaur around, and then at the very end, that's when you're going to get the money shot where it's like dinosaurs everywhere.
Oh, the 2014 one?
Yeah.
Oh, you said first, and my mind immediately went to like the 1991 for some reason.
I don't know. You do certain things on your own personal time that I can't say on this mic.
That was weird.
Yeah, so he made that one. Obviously, he made Rogue One as well. He made The Creator that just recently came out. And he said, when asked, because obviously we know Spielberg's coming back to produce. We did talk about Cope coming back to. He obviously penned the first film. Now he's coming back to pen this film. He penned the first Jurassic Park film way back when. So now he's coming back to do this one. when asked how he feels about joining this world, Jurassic Park and whatnot, he basically says, I was about to take a break and start writing my next idea for a film, and this is the only movie that would make me drop everything like a stone and dive right in. I love Jurassic Park. I think the first movie is a cinematic masterpiece, so the opportunity is like a dream to me. And to work with Frank Marshall and Universal and David Coep, who's writing the script, I think they're all legends. I'm just very excited. Now, he says right here that he was gearing up, but I heard that after his Oscar runs that he was going to take a little bit of time off of Hollywood just to, recoup, maybe write down some new ideas and whatnot. So maybe this is something that, maybe there is some truth to that and he was just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
But, Universal said, hey, man, you want to do a fucking Jurassic World movie? And Gareth Edwards said, shoosh, yeah, I do.
All right. I don't know what that was, but all right.
Yeah.
This could totally be really good, especially if he did the ones that you said. I'm just worried about where they can take it story-wise, because I think it's been milked out, and a reboot so soon would do terrible things, especially after having the OG cast come back for the last one. So I don't know. This movie could be really good or it could be really bad. I want to be optimistic and say it's going to be good. This just sounds like another obstacle for Superman Legacy.
You think Jurassic World's a contender?
Mm-hmm. Jurassic World.
Well, now that Gareth Edwards is on board, I think that this movie has a chance. Don't get me wrong, David Leitch, he's doing The Fall Guy, right? And I think he's done a couple other movies I can't think off the top of my head. He does good work. I don't think he does bad work. But Gareth Edwards, hearing that he's attached, that gives me a lot more faith. After coming off The Creator, and I know a lot of people, that movie didn't really make a lot of money in the box office. I think it was smushed around with a bunch of other well-known films, so that's why it didn't work. I know, I heard like Grace Rudolph saying that, or Randolph, whatever her name is.
Rudolph?
Yeah, Randolph, saying like, oh, it didn't have a perfect ending or something, or like a movie theater ending, and that's why it would turn people off from the movie or something. And there was a lot of rumors saying like Rogue One didn't have a certain ending, so somebody had to come in and finish whatever Gareth Edwards was doing.
That's so annoying.
And then we also, there was reshoots when Gareth Edwards was on that film, and that was a big red flag for some people. And then we go back to the 2014 Godzilla, where, a lot of people liked it. I thought it was a good movie, but then you didn't see Godzilla till the very end of the movie, which caused a lot of, backlash.
And now he's in our faces. We just got a lizard all in our face.
Yeah, lizard everywhere.
It's cool.
A lot of people will nitpick that and they'll say all that stuff. But then I will go and be like, Godzilla 2014. He gave us that iconic shot where everybody was afraid in that airport. When I was in the theaters watching that film, I think nothing made me more scared than that one scene where I was just like, damn, this fucking dinosaur is gigantic. This is fucking scary. It didn't feel like that the earlier Godzilla, the one, that a lot of people don't like. It looks like a dinosaur or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I look back at Rogue One and I'm just like, even if they did reshoots, the rest of the movie is it's fucking great. The movie's amazing. Gareth Edwards, his name's attached to it. And then we go down the line to The Creator now. And I'm just like, I loved
that was
that
good.
Movie. That was a really fucking good movie. I don't even care what Grace Rudolph says.
It's insane. What the fuck is a movie theater ending?
A movie theater ending is what I take from that is a happy ending. Basically, like pleasing everybody. So I'm thinking, oh man, spoilers for The Creator, but I'm thinking the ending where he basically gives himself up and doesn't take care of the kid is basically like not a happy ending. Because now the kid's alone, back to where he was. He lost his parents, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you have that, you have that sweet moment between the two. I personally thought that was the perfect ending.
That, yeah.
But I would assume that the best ending would be all three of them surviving and leaving the ship together.
Yeah, but you can't have that. You need, the sacrifices have to be made. That whole movie, he was making sacrifices. He was seen as a traitor by the Americans and things like that. You needed all that to kind of happen. And he had his full circle moment with her. He died happy. The kid and the robots get to live peacefully for a moment, or assuming for a while, without the Americans having to, having to worry about the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was perfect. I think the ending was really great. It made me tear up a bit. So I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I thought it was great, but some
Grace
people.
Rudolph doesn't know shit.
Shit.
She doesn't know shit.
Doesn't know anything.
For the simps out there simping over Grace Randolph, she doesn't know shit. Stop listening to her.
Who simps over her?
Man, I don't know. I got people on my timeline calling her mommy and shit like that. You guys are gross.
That's disgusting.
Do better.
That's actually disgusting.
Yuck.
Yeah.
but
made me vomit a little bit.
But anyway, like, I don't know. I think this could be trouble for Superman Legacy, though.
Possibly with Gareth Edwards behind the wheel. I personally think too. Now, do you have a valid point where are they gonna take this movie? Fuck yeah. Shoosh, yeah.
Stop saying that.
But like,
I don't know what that means.
like that's an issue, and then we also got Fantastic Four. That's also an issue, and then we also for at least for this film too, there's a lot of people that may look at Gareth Edwards kind of crazy. So I mean, trouble in paradise for Superman Legacy, probably. How big of a problem? Because you got to understand, I think Superman Legacy is coming out first, and then it's supposed to be Jurassic World, and then it's gonna be Fantastic Four. So what could happen is that Superman Legacy can completely hold out with a strong opening. What if the movie's good, right? If the movie's good, it can hold out with a strong opening. Second weekend, people are gonna have to make the decision. Hey, you know what? Do I want to see these dinosaurs I can see probably on Peacock in about a couple weeks? Or do I go watch Superman Legacy? Which, like I said, if the story's strong, Superman Legacy will get people in that seat. So this movie might be in trouble. This one, for sure. Now, if Superman Legacy is not the best, it doesn't live up to some people's expectations, Jurassic World can most definitely put up a little bit of a fight. But I think Jurassic World is kind of like that smushed in the middle. It has that smushed in the middle problem, kind of like what the creator had. So no matter how good it is, if something else is better, it's gonna do better.
I don't know. I'm thinking it's gonna be what happened 2022 of March. I think it's gonna be like Creed. It's gonna get the boost it has, and then dinosaurs will reign over for a cool minute, and then Fantastic Four will probably blow everything out the water.
You're just praying for the downfall of Superman Legacy.
Nah, man. They go, no. Why would I do that? No. No. But
You're supposed to say "shusha," yeah.
It's realistic.
Oh,
I think I've been waiting for the F4 movie forever, so I know I'm gonna be there.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
Jurassic Park. I need a trailer, and obviously you know where I stand with Superman. But F4 has my ticket. I know.
Okay, so I'll probably ask this question when we get closer and we actually get trailers for all these movies, because when those trailers come out, we're going to be talking about them for sure.
Super Bowl trailers, baby. Super Bowl.
So the question is, as we sit right now, knowing the facts of what we have Gareth Edwards, we have no cast for Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, we know Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby. We've been, but then you also have that little thing behind your head where you're like, well, Fantastic Four hasn't really had a good run, Fan Four stick and whatnot. A lot of people think Fantastic Four 2 is kind of whack as well. I personally still like it. And then on top of that, Marvel's run with the MCU is not going so well.
Yeah.
And then you have Superman Legacy, which is a completely whole new reboot. Obviously, you have a personal vendetta against, James Gunn and whatnot. With that being said, and all the facts, at least for right now, and the cast, Corn Sweat, Isabella Merced is going to be Hawk Girl, and, the cast there. As it stands right now, if there's one movie that you could watch, which movie are you watching?
F4. I think Fantastic Four. I've been waiting for that one since they announced that bitch way back when at that Comic-Con. Like this one and Blade have been like the ones that I've solely been like interested in. Everything else can go rot. Quantumania, the Marvels, Guardians 3. Fantastic Four and Blade are where my loyalties lie with the MCU.
I'm sorry, y'all, for the wet ear you guys just got.
I'm not.
Shit, mad moist now.
But and then Superman Legacy will get second place, and then I think Jurassic Park might be third. But I need a trailer.
You need trailers for all of them. Obviously, we need trailers for all of them. As it stands right now, I would say Superman Legacy is on my top slot, only because one, I love Superman, and hearing that we're gonna get all these like characters in one movie, like it's supposed to be like a normal superhero day kind of thing. Like that sounds like fun. So I think that's what's really attracted me to Superman Legacy. And then I mean Gareth Edwards for Jurassic World would put it at my second, and then Fantastic Four, only because of the cast and the track record that Marvel's been having, is not really on my top spot. So if I want to put it like that, but if one ticket has to be sold, I think Legacy for sure. I'd probably check it out first.
Okay.
But like I said, that could change as trailers come out, which obviously when we get closer to it, we'll probably break that down. And that's assuming that none of these movies pussy out and fucking move. I'm watching you guys. Don't be bitches.
Yeah, don't move.
Stand on your business, bro.
This is gonna be the matchup.
Yeah, stand on your business. I want to see
Universal, WB, or WBD,
and Disney.
And Marvel, toe to toe. Like I want that.
Fight night.
Don't move. Don't move. Don't think about moving. I think I'll say it now. If one of them moves, I'm not watching it.
These movies are coming out in July, right?
Yeah.
All of them. I was about to say because Ballerina's coming out in June. So I mean,
it gets a good gap.
Yeah,
it gets a good gap.
There's a good breathing room
before Superman Legacy drops on the 11th, right?
Yeah. There's some good breathing room. I mean, the other movies that are gonna be in that month, yeesh.
Yeah, I'd be very worried. I think I would stay. I mean, if I was anyone creating a movie, I would stay away from. I know summertime is where people usually like to go, but I would try to stay away from that bitch.
Okay, all right. Let us know out there what you guys think about Gareth Edwards taking over the new Jurassic World movie. Are you guys excited for that? We got 3 blockbusters coming out in June. Which movie are you going to see first? Obviously, Superman Legacy comes out first, but which one are you willing to save your money for and spend that hard-earned cash for a ticket? Let us know. Moving on to that DCU. Stephen Amell coming for James Gunn neck. From what I interpret is one thing. I don't know if you've seen this video of him talking or kind of going at James Gunn, but he says some things that I think a lot of us are thinking, and I'm 100% behind Stephen Amell on this one.
I haven't seen it.
Nope. All right, I'm gonna show it to you right now.
Announcements from about DC and about the DC extended universe and about what they're going to do with the movies. You know what I would prefer? Content. Like, I don't think anyone has ever gone to an IMAX to watch a press conference or to like read Twitter. It's like, great, awesome. I'm glad you guys have all these plans. Shut up and go execute them. Announcements.
Now, he's 100% right. You're hearing all these things about Superman Legacy.
Yeah,
you're hearing all these things about the new DC. I know a lot of people have some issues with Muschietti coming back for Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion's going to be Guy Gardner. You're hearing all these things coming out. Lots of tweeting and on threads, to fans about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, who's going to be where, whatever. And he's basically saying, stop with all the yapping and show us what you got, right? Why are you speaking to these fans? Why are you, going up and down Twitter? Why are you over here, hyping this movie up instead of showing the product and changing our minds that way?
Basically, yeah. Well, we've said this before. He doesn't need to get off the internet. He just needs to make the fucking movie. He needs to, there's no point of sitting on threads, talking to people who will suck your dick over there, and just do the movie. Stop telling us about so many things about it. Just do the movie. Stop telling us about the DCEU. I can guarantee you, not all of us care. If I'm being so dead ass, some things are just meant to be withheld, and he's not withholding anything other than the simple questions. Like, oh, will he have a cape? Sure, maybe. Oh, is your wife gonna be in there? No. This, and that. We don't care that much. Just make the fucking movie. Stop talking to motherfuckers on threads and Twitter and so on and so forth. That's the only support I can give Stephen Amell, because I don't care about him outside of Arrow. So
okay, and a lot of people were going at his neck, basically saying things like, somebody didn't get a role in the DCU. Somebody, had a conversation with James Gunn and it didn't happen, and blah 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 blah, and whatever. The usual stuff that you could probably hear people saying that you would obviously be salty about. But I personally think that he sees all this stuff, and and maybe he did get turned down. Who knows? Maybe he was like, well, I played it for the CW. I could most definitely do it for the DCU. And James Gunn was probably just like, nah, you're on TV for a reason. So he could have probably been mad. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with being a little bit of being a little salty, making these comments.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean he's not wrong. You're right. He needs to get off the internet and stop teasing and show us a little bit more. Why kind of like what we got yesterday when we got the first look at what Superman's logo was going to be like. This is Isabella Merced's little seat where they had over there in Atlanta round table talk about the script. I guess they were obviously going over the script, doing a script read and all that stuff. And we got this little picture right here from Isabella Merced. I think Jennifer Holland was there. The dude that plays Vigilante was there, and he even posted a picture of both of them and was like, no, they're not in the movie. And a lot of people were like, oh, this is some bullshit, like we're gonna see him in the movie. But a lot of people are noticing the logo, the S for Superman Legacy, and a lot of people are creating the connection, which James Gunn has been kind of teasing and hinting at this whole time, is that we're getting somewhat of a Kingdom Come adaptation. What you think about that?
Well, Kingdom Come can't happen because he's meant to be a young Superman.
Yes. Now, I heard this theory. I don't know where I seen it. I think I seen it on Twitter, and somebody had like retweeted it because I think this was something like that was given a while ago when the first few pieces of the news was coming out. So if anybody knows who I'm quoting or what theory I'm talking about, let them know, tag them in the video, or let us know so we can give them credit where credit's due. But the theory is that Superman Legacy, because the name says Legacy, it's about Superman creating his mark on the world. So that instead of, obviously it's going to be him young, and I think this is going to be kind of like an arc where he kind of turns into, instead of him dying, he's going to turn into kind of like a recluse and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, we heard about what's it called? The opposite of the Justice League?
The Authority?
The Authority. They're supposed to be like vigilante superheroes, like not actual superheroes, but people that take it upon themselves and kind of deal out their own justice. That apparently the theory is that people are going to be worshiping these people like they're the superheroes, and that Superman's going to be doing his best to show off like what actual heroes do and not what these vigilantes do.
Yeah.
And maybe they're going to show that these vigilantes take it to the point where superheroes can't, and that's why they root for these vigilantes, because they can at least put them away, put them down, do whatever they got to do, where Superman is always going to hold back.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually during the arc, he's going to turn into a recluse where people just lose hope in Superman and heroes altogether. And then eventually he'll come back out of hiding at one point when people need him the most, whenever there's this big threat, Thanos level threat, I'm assuming, Darkseid, whatever it may be, and get him out of retirement, and boom, Kingdom Come Superman.
Okay, that could be interesting. I don't know. I know I did see the Authority picture going around with him in the Authority, where he has like a casual looking suit. I've seen the comic. It's his pants. They're blue. The logo looks like that. It's red and black. He has like biker gloves on. Very street looking Superman look.
Mm.
I can show you after. I don't know what this could mean. This could totally just be like something else, and James Gunn could totally be like, no, that was a mistake or some bullshit like that. Something to throw us off his scent, which is fine, but interesting. Because I mean, if it's going down the route of this suit, I'm cool with that. I would like something sleek and modern like that versus trunks and all that. So if we're not gonna get trunks, if this is the case, yeah.
What if we get a little gag thing where it's like trunks?
And he's like, no,
takes him off.
I think that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind that joke.
Do you think he'll keep the black logo?
I would prefer it. I like it.
You think so? It'll give you points if they keep that black logo.
Yeah.
instead of turning it yellow.
Mm-hmm. The black and red. I don't know. I'm a big fan of that look. Even in the New 52 movies, where he has like the red cape and it's black on the back instead of yellow.
Yeah,
I like that. Instead of the iconic like Reeves yellow on the cape.
Yeah,
I like it. I feel like it just
adds a new flair.
Adds a flair. Yeah.
Okay,
that's a good way to put it.
Makes sense. I'm 100% on board. I like the logo. Like I said, good things are coming out from this movie. I mean, we've seen that at one point, I think somebody recorded that Nicholas Hoult was there as well at Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody's going to be at this table read. If you notice here, I mean, in this picture, he has the black logo, but he still has the blue and red scheme. So, I mean, and he's still rocking the trunks. So trunks could be still a thing in this movie as well. So don't hold your breath on the whole trunks thing. But I would have preferably, it'd be cool to see him in a black logo suit, but I don't know how many people are gonna rock with that. Some people are gonna be. It's
gonna be tough because I mean we already got a Kingdom Come in live action looking suit, so
and I think a lot of the response to this photo has been positive as well. I don't think I've seen a lot of like pushback with this.
Kingdom
photo.
Come is a good story. That's why. Like it's not a hated like story. I feel like he could have he could go this route and totally lean on that praise, or he could totally go the Matt Reeves OG look and just make his suit colorful and yellow and things like that.
Okay. I mean, this right here is a good little tidbit. I know a lot of people, like I said, we were just talking about it, but Stephen Amell saying like, stop giving us these little tidbits and actually give us something good. I don't mind these little tidbits because this is not really like a spoiler or anything like that, or them trying to answer. This is like creating hype for the movie.
Yeah, it's an Easter egg.
This is hype. This is something that's causing people to draw attention and not argue. Just that little nugget of let's start the conversation on what he could possibly be doing.
It's a lot of show don't tell.
Yeah,
like the pictures that he was posting of Mr. Terrific, things like that. Lobo, that shows us that you're cooking something. Don't tell us, Lobo's gonna be there.
Yeah,
we don't want to see. We don't want to read that. We want you to tease us with a picture, something like that. Get us
Crazy
thinking
stuff.
about it. Don't tell us straight out, because then we're gonna be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
and we'll see him eventually.
And then if you tell us like, yeah, they're gonna be in the movie, then we're gonna be expecting them in the movie. And then if they don't show up in the movie, guess what? People are gonna be mad. You're gonna cause problems. Like this is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of content that you want to be pushed out. You know what I mean? Not talking about what's gonna be in there. Oh, are you gonna work with Margot Robbie again? Oh, are you gonna do all this? Yes, I am. Or no, I'm not. It's like
we don't want to hear all that.
Just show us some pictures. Show us what's happening. Let those little set photos leak. Once in a while. Like I said, Nicholas Hoult walking to the little script read that you guys were doing. The little picture with Jennifer Holland, stir up a little controversy, like, oh, is she going to be in the movie? Oh, he's going to have her in the movie, stir up that little bit of conversation too. Yeah. To get your name out there, because I hear these things, and, I mean, nobody knows this movie's happening. And that's the thing that sucks. Nobody knows the superhero movie's happening. You're not seeing it on the big news and stuff like that. You're seeing this on comic book Twitter and, Twitter where, some people don't even have Twitter. I mean, or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is the hype that we need. We need more pictures like that where they could put it on the tabloids, get people hyped about a new Superman that's going to be coming out. Show them that logo. Show them the shit that's going to be, that, the cast that's going to be in there. So, when it comes down time, when these three movies go head to head, Superman Legacy actually has a fighting chance.
Basically, yeah. That makes more sense.
Yeah, so let us know out there, is Stephen Amell reaching? Do you think that he got shit canned? Do you think that's why he's going on this little rant? Are you guys excited? Did you guys see Isabel Merced's Instagram photo? It is on her Instagram, and you can see the logo there if you guys are trying to see it. But moving on, Marvel is apparently going through a massive overhaul. Not just Marvel on the MCU side, but Marvel also on the Sony side. We got two articles from the Hollywood Reporter that is basically talking about what we are going to see in the future and where we're at right now when it comes down to not only the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the Sonyverse as well. Both are under construction, as you can tell from the fucking poor performance that was the Marvels, and then, Quantumania and movies that came out between Phase 4 and Phase 5, basically after 2020. And then obviously with Madam Web doing the numbers, or doing what it did in the box office, or what it's doing right now so far. So this article from the Hollywood Reporter says how Marvel is quietly retooling amid superhero fatigue, which this is a conversation that we had before where people don't believe in superhero fatigue. I tell you that it's a real thing. Do you believe in superhero fatigue?
No.
You think it's a mediocre fatigue?
It's a quality thing.
It is a quality thing. But you got to understand, when the quality is only affecting superhero movies, what does that tell you? There's a certain genre that's really taking a hit, not necessarily the whole industry. It's, because you could say it's mediocre fatigue, but then, which are the movies that are flopping?
It's the quality and mediocrity of which superhero movies are doing. It's not a universal thing. You're not gonna look at a superhero movie and be like, oh, this romance movie is flopping. Because at one point we talked about it all the time. Why did this movie flop? Oh, it was right next to a big Marvel premiere. You know what I mean? So there was a time where it did affect it, but now it's more like, oh, it's just affecting that genre. It's not going to affect the entire overhaul of movies in the box office. It's just going to be these movies. It's the quality of which superhero movies are made, the mediocrity of which superhero movies are made.
Yeah, but then people get tired of it, right? You make a shit product, people are going to get tired of having shit product.
Exactly.
And if the shit product only has to do with superhero films, what does that lead to? People getting tired of superheroes.
Of the mediocrity, not superhero films.
Of shitty superhero films.
No, because I think people still go watch them. I think
nobody's watching Madam Web.
The people that did have a lot to say about it.
No, nobody watched the Marvels.
The people that did had a lot to say about it.
The people that did are YouTubers and stuff. People that go watch it for content. It's not general audience.
Yeah.
That the money that they're making are people that are going out there for the views and telling people not to watch it.
Exactly. So there's still an audience there, regardless of if it's a mob or not.
I guess you're right, but I'm not gonna have like a concert and then everybody that paid a ticket is there to fucking murder me, and I'm just gonna be like, well, at least I got money for the tickets that they fucking.
It's the same thing. Why not? Like
no, it doesn't matter. But that means that you are willing to sacrifice thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, so you can get a couple million from the people that are thrashing your shit.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's dumb, but it's what's happening. Sony could totally be like, "Hey, we made something. We didn't make a lot, but we made something." Like, that's something that I can imagine some dodo over there at Sony is thinking.
I don't know I don't understand your argument. What I'm telling you is that superhero fatigue is a thing because only the superhero genre is being affected. You're saying that that people are still buying tickets, but I'm telling you, people aren't buying tickets. It's YouTubers and people that are wanting to thrash the movie.
Yeah, and I'm saying they're still making money regardless.
People are still tired of these movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're still making movies that people are thrashing. It's not like you're making little niche movies that people are that you're enjoying. You're making movies that people are talking shit about and throwing all over the place.
Yeah, it's a mediocrity thing.
So, but it's only happening within the superhero genre.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's superhero fatigue. It's the fact that people still want to see it. It's just more, hey, is this one going to be good or not?
You can't say people are tired of mediocrity because people don't like mediocrity. Mediocrity hasn't been loved forever. Nobody likes half-baked shit. You get a cake, it's half-baked, you're going to fucking riot. You get a burger that's not cooked all the way, you're going to fucking riot. Half-baked shit is not going to get you anywhere. So you can't say people are tired of bad shit because people don't like bad shit. People are tired of going to a superhero movie and them coming out like, what the fuck did I just watch? Why did I pay money for this shit? It's not for people to be like, it should be like how Marvel used to be. Like, you leave, you're excited for the next thing. You weren't tired of spending money on this product because you loved it, it was good and whatever. Now you're buying a ticket, oh, the movie's bad. You buy another ticket, oh, the movie's bad. You buy another ticket, oh, this one was okay. It's not as good as it was, but it's still not the best.
Yeah. So
people are tired of mediocrity, yes.
But you just said it.
But if it's only happening within superhero fatigue or within superhero genre, that tells you where the problem lies. because people don't like bad shit. Mediocrity.
Yeah,
people.
It's not fatigue of superheroes. That's what I mean. That's what you just said. They're gonna continue to buy and be like, "Oh, yeah, it was alright. Oh, I'll buy it again. Oh, it was alright."
And now where are we at?
Not with superhero fatigue, with mediocrity fatigue.
No.
Yes.
But now where are we at?
With mediocrity fatigue, not superhero fatigue.
Not that, but people continue to buy. But now where are we at? Where people aren't buying.
Oh, well, that's what the rehaul is. To reshape and get back to what they once were. And watch, this superhero fatigue thing is gonna go away once, hopefully, if the MCU gets back on its feet. This only started when Phase 4 started and the decline started.
You're I feel like you're saying it and you're fucking with me.
No,
I feel like
it's not
what you're saying
fatigue.
and you're just like I'm gonna stand on what I'm saying regardless.
It's not superhero fatigue.
It is super. The thing is that if it's only happening to the superhero genre, what does that tell you?
That doesn't make it a superhero fatigue. That makes it a mediocrity fatigue. If a movie is shit, regardless of it being in the comic book,
people don't have patience for mediocrity. Mediocrity is not okay within society. People do not care for shitty things. People are not gonna go. It's not. You can't be tired of something you didn't like to begin with. What you can be tired of is something that you did like, and that shit just continues to wane and wane and wane to the point where you're done. And then you're done watching it. And that is what fatigue is. You know what fatigue is? You know what fatigue is?
Do we ever hear of sci-fi fatigue?
You know what fatigue is?
Do we ever hear about that? No, we talk about the quality in which the product is being made.
Sci-fi fatigue? What are you talking about?
You don't ever hear about that.
When was the last time we had a sci-fi anything?
The Creator?
The Creator. And then what happened?
Didn't do it
because of what?
Mediocrity.
It wasn't mediocrity because other films smushed it out, smothered it out. People are not going to take a chance on a new film. The difference between Creator and a pre-established franchise is that one is an original idea,
Jurassic
all
Park
new.
Fatigue? Is that a thing?
Yeah, people got tired of watching it, but even then, not really, because it made $1 billion.
Exactly.
People like dinosaurs.
People like superhero shit.
People
They're
like
gonna
dinosaurs.
continue to buy. It's a mediocrity.
When
fatigue.
was the last time a Marvel movie made $1 billion? You know when the last time a Jurassic Park movie made $1 billion? 2022. When was the last time a Marvel movie made $1 billion?
When did No Way Home come out? 21?
21. 21 from Sony. Yeah. That had a lot of nostalgia. Mm-hmm. And then what happened after that?
It still made $1 billion.
And then what happened after that?
It hasn't made $1 billion. Didn't Guardians 3 the
you
movie
get
that
10
you
product
love?
you get 10 products, one makes it. What does that tell you?
Not every movie. See, now you're saying $1 billion is the marker. $1 billion has never been the marker. If they break even, if they do,
you brought up Jurassic Park. I'm going by your merits.
I'm going by the fatigue in which it was made. People
I tell you that superhero things are declining. You move the goalpost by saying that that sci-fi. I tell you that sci-fi is an original thing. Then you move the goalpost again and say people are tired of Jurassic Park. I tell you Jurassic Park made $1 billion. You make another goalpost. You move the goalpost again. You're not making an argument. You're moving the goalpost.
You just said $1 billion was the merit.
I'm keeping it at the superhero. No, I'm not saying $1 billion.
That's why you just brought up No Way Home and Dominion.
Because you said Jurassic Park that people are tired of dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Clearly not. It made $1 billion.
I'm telling you, no. It's the mediocrity fatigue. It's not a superhero fatigue. There's no way.
How Marvel is quietly retooling amid superhero fatigue. Obviously, it says here in the Hollywood Reporter, the studio's golden box office era has been dented, but chief architect Kevin Feige isn't scrapping his years-long cinematic universe plan, just refining it. They're not giving up, says an insider. Just over a year ago, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium was set to take Marvel Studios to the next level. A new villain was going to be introduced, setting the stage for several years worth of storytelling, and the movie itself was a giant sizing of a franchise that was previously modest in scope. Instead, the Peyton Reed directed movie heralded a year's worth of missteps, box office blunders, and PR nightmares. It was all uncharted territory for Marvel, which had steadily been generating box office gold for 15 years. But the Disney division, in the middle of a pretty darn good February, all things considered, despite the general gloom that surrounds the superhero genre as of late, the Super Bowl trailer of Deadpool and Wolverine became the most watched trailer of all time with 365 million views in 24 hours. Yes, Disney's math includes the 123 million people who tuned in for the game, so they're not just going off YouTube merits, they're going off people that watched the game and saw the trailer during the game as well. So Disney's kind of, in a way, inflating the numbers.
Yeah.
So the Hollywood Reporter goes on to say, which included just 30 seconds of the trailer, but Super Bowl fudging or not, the clip's reach was an encouraging number for a studio whose last movie, The Marvels, became the lowest grossing in the MCU's 33 film run, hitting just 206 million globally. Next came Valentine's Day, unveiling the cast of Fantastic Four: Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss, Backrack, and Joseph Quinn, coupled with retro art teasing a 1960s setting of the movie. The Fantastic Four are a cornerstone of the Marvel mythos, with writer Stan Lee and Jack Kirby introducing the team in 1961's Fantastic Four #1, the comic that would initiate the Marvel Universe. So the symbolic launch of the new team carries a lot of weight for the film division. This will be the third incarnation of the Fantastic Four to hit the big screen, not counting the infamous Roger Corman version. A day later, Marvel launched the trailer for X-Men 97, a revival of a 1990s cartoon that debuts in March. The trailer set an international Disney record as the biggest launch for an animated series on Disney Plus, ahead of other Marvel shows such as What If and any animated Star Wars series. The public-facing moves come as studio boss Kevin Feige recalibrates the creative direction behind the scenes. Early in February, the company completed reshoots for Agatha Darkhold Diaries, the WandaVision spinoff starring Catherine Hahn that is expected to hit Disney Plus this fall. The company usually budgets 5 days of reshoots into the schedule, but the studio completed the work in just one, fueling a sunny outlook around the show internally, according to sources associated with the series. So they had reshoots, 5 days scheduled. They did it all in one time, knocked it out of the park. Apparently, Darkhold Diaries is in a good spot to come out. What do you think about Agatha? I know a lot of people, I for one, say that we didn't need this show. Do you feel as though this show is going to help revamp, or is this going to be one of the shows that is going to have to bite the dust before we get new blood, or I guess new retooling that they're calling it?
I think it's probably going to have to bite the dust. I know I don't care for it. I think the people who really cared about her character in WandaVision are probably going to watch it. I mean, I'll probably watch it for Aubrey Plaza. That's about it. But other than that, I don't really care for it outside of like other Marvel things. I think this one just might have to bite the dust. I don't really care for it.
I don't think anybody cared about this show. When Feige came out and was like, "Oh, Agatha is gonna be coming out," I don't think anybody like jumped out of their seat like, "Shoosh, yeah, I'm ready for this."
It was so dumb because this has to be like the Morbius Sony thing, because people loved her little jingle in the show, and Kevin Feige was like, "People like her that much? Give her a show." And then like the show's gonna do ass, and they're not gonna fucking.
I mean, we did hear reports when this was coming out that apparently he was singing it down the hallways, that he was basically toe tapping, finger snapping Agatha all along, some shit like that. I don't know. Yeah, no, apparently he really liked it.
Yeah, well, he's dumb. So this is gonna be like that Sony Morbius thing. There's no way. It's not gonna work.
That whole like Matt Smith scene, is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about Sony thinking that we wanted more of it.
Oh.
So they re-put it in for no one to watch it. This is gonna be like that.
I know when the reveal came and it was like, oh, it was Agatha all along. Everybody was like, we know.
We been knew.
We seen that.
Exactly. Agatha Harkness is the name of a witch in the comics that fucks with Wanda. That wasn't hard to piece together. You know what was hard to piece together for these motherfuckers? Mephisto. Like what? It doesn't make any sense.
Ralph Boner, apparently. So, I mean, I guess, regardless, this is probably one of them that's going to have to bite the dust. But I guess, reshoots only going one day when they're scheduled for 5 and, getting it done quicker. I would have to say that's a good outlook. It's just, was the show good to begin with? Like, do they feel like, yeah, this is a banger where, there should be some reshoots probably sprinkled in or added just a little bit, right? So the report goes on to say the studio also quietly hired Eric Pearson to polish the script for Fantastic Four, which will shoot in summer in London. Pearson is a company stalwart who worked on Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow. Yee. And has a reputation for taking projects over the finish line. The stakes for the movie are high, as the studio is still searching for characters and actors who can carry its universe forward after the exits of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. Yeesh. Thor Ragnarok, Black Widow. I guess the writing wasn't bad. I think it was more the filmmaking, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that little ending where they're looking for people to carry the universe forward after the exits of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. This is where we're probably gonna, have a little bit of back and forth depending on where you stand on this one. But I don't think anybody should be carrying this universe, right? I understand have actors and beloved characters that are within this universe, but I think this universe should be self-sustaining on its own by now. I think by the time they let go of Chris Evans and RDJ, this universe, because I mean, let's be honest, they weren't in every single project during the first 3 phases of Marvel. They were, RDJ was sprinkled around a little bit more than Chris Evans, but it was the connectivity, the storytelling that kept everybody together. I don't think it was RDJ and Chris Evans who was carrying the universe, which I know that you said that earlier when you were talking about the whole Gareth Edwards topic. I think
it's not so much that they carried it. It's more like, I see what they mean, because a lot of people are like, oh, RDJ, Chris Evans carried the universe and stuff, but it's more of like to solidify the ones who will be around longer to form the Avengers again, because we're past phase 4, we're in phase 5. We don't know what an Avengers roster will look like. The first phase gave us exactly what we were looking for. Maybe they should have used phase 4 or phase 1 blueprints to be like, oh, let's give these 3 characters a trilogy and then we'll build a team off of them or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they mean. And then, your stars will shine after the fact. But they haven't really done that. They've kind of been scattered all over the place since phase 4, trying to establish all these characters that they set up, but we haven't, like I said, we haven't seen them in forever.
Yeah, and that's one thing, right? That kind of plays into what I was saying too, is that connectivity. Like, if there's connectivity there, people are gonna flock in. People are gonna be like, okay, well, will RDJ come out in this post-credit scene? Will we, get a hint of where they're gonna be next? Whatever it may be. Yeah. And then that's when you get a self-sustaining universe where maybe you're right. Maybe you do need like a core 3 that can, carry solo films and, weave through. But at the end of the day, I think that all boils down to storytelling, because I think at one point they wanted Captain Marvel to be one of the main 3. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, if they're looking for somebody to carry, why don't they recognize that Spider-Man is their big ticket? Well, for me, they're sharing that character. So
they have to be able to cut him out whenever. Yeah,
if necessary. If Sony, acts like a bitch one day and is just like, I'm not gonna lend you Spider-Man anymore.
Yeah, there has to be. Yeah, he goes from contract to contract. They're not gonna lock him in for anything more than a trilogy and two
some cameos,
2
and
team
whatnot.
ups. It's not gonna work.
I think one of the producers of over there at Sony was basically, I think he said in an interview that it was a you land one, we land one situation. So they're lending Spider-Man. So for their Spider-Man film, there has to be an MCU character. That's why RDJ was in the first one. Nick Fury was in the second one with Maria Hill, the Skrulls thing, and then that's why in No Way Home it was Doctor Strange. So, it's a lend one, you get one kind of thing, the kind of contract. So, yeah, you got to be able to write them out if necessary.
Yeah.
And so you can't just have them set up this whole Avengers thing, and then now, Sony's like, well, you want them in Avengers, we're going to have to cough up some dough.
If they really wanted to let a world be known and feel empty, my ideal pick, I know it's probably too late because, they haven't set up anybody, but I would have Rhodey, Sam Wilson, Captain America, maybe Carol if they cared that much. I would have put it around those 3. Rhodey being Tony's friend, he knows, War Machine, things like that. His tech. Captain America, you need a Captain America. He already passed down the mantle. And Carol, she would have been fine, but you teamed her up with everyone else, and that was a bad look. So I feel that was a terrible way to go. But that would be my ideal 3. Like, you should have set them up to be these pillars of the next Avengers if you really wanted it that bad. Don't try to establish characters that we haven't seen before so quickly, because I know Black Panther 2 was in the making, but that could have probably been put on the back burner. A lot of the Disney Plus shows.
Well, I thought he was going to be part of the big 3 too, but then Boseman's passing.
I don't think so. I don't even think he was ever made to be like.
No.
No.
I think I was on kind of like your train, but it was more. I thought Rhodey was going to be like the mentor, and I thought they were going to hand it over to the little white boy that was in Iron Man 3. I think
a lot of people wanted that.
Because I seen him in Endgame, and I was like, oh, this is Marvel, like kind of showcasing, like, you know, he's old enough to kind of, you know, follow in the footsteps, which I would have probably preferred that, because that would have been cool to, you know, show that his mentorship actually rubbed off on somebody, instead of being like, oh, some random girl is gonna take it up because, you know, she seen him from afar and was like, oh, I like what he's doing or something, you know what I mean, where, you know, he actually had a relationship with him in Iron Man 3. And then I wanted Winter Soldier to pick up the shield. I didn't really want Sam Wilson, and I wanted Sam Wilson to just basically, you know, be like, okay, have this rocky relationship with him, but be like, Chris Evans trusted you, so I trust you, kind of thing, right? And then I thought, yeah, that Carol Danvers was basically going to be the third slot. That's why they kind of propped her up as this, you know, this like super being and all that stuff, and that we were going to see her go through some struggles, like maybe lose her powers at one point, something, I don't know. But then that whole like OP, like she's OP, kind of drifts in my head, like, yeah, she is kind of OP.
Yeah. So I don't know, but that's what I mean. Like, it's not so much who outside of the universe can carry. It's what characters can they make us care about to want to continue to keep us watching for so long. Because think about it, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America got a trilogy, and then Black Widow showed up, Hawkeye showed up, Hulk showed up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, Hulk got a solo movie.
Yeah,
but they kind of showed up. They showed up in the Avengers randomly, and then boom, your team. They should have had something like that, because for Phase 4, but no, they're scattered throughout the multiverse right now, and there's no way to pull it together. They formed a multiverse Guardians way before they formed Avengers.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And they wanted people to tune in because, oh yeah, we do have an Avengers lineup, but it's on What If.
So you see, it doesn't make any sense.
Go watch What If. But the report even goes further and says Marvel has hired Joanne Callow, the showrunner of acclaimed FX series The Bear, to work on the script for Thunderbolts. The Hollywood Reporter has learned the film will begin shooting in March of Atlanta. Her hiring adds a flair of prestige to the project, which stars Florence Pugh, and according to a source who has read previous drafts of the script, centers on villains and anti-heroes going on a mission that was supposed to end with their deaths. If Fahey had the balls to do that, I'm all in. But I don't think he has the balls to kill anybody. Not like that.
No, not a big winner or loved characters like Sebastian Stan, Bucky, or Yelena. Yelena's new, so I don't think that's happening.
I'm Red Guardian.
And people love Bucky. So.
I think Red Guardian would have bit the dust. Probably Ghost if she's actually in there. I don't know.
That she died again.
Yeah. Like, it would be a bunch of nobodies. They wouldn't.
If he was still alive, if he was still alive, I would have loved to seen Yellow Jacket.
Oh yeah.
If he was still alive,
I forgot he died.
These are all characters that we don't care for, and then you have Zemo.
Yeah, I would have rather seen Yellow Jacket in like Thunderbolts than seen him as what he was in Quantumania.
He didn't have to die. They could have just imprisoned him, and now we get to see him later in an installment. Like, I have a lot of more ideas for these kinds of things, but the MCU just likes to kill off their people, and the people that they didn't kill off,
it's that villain problem.
These guys.
It's that villain problem, and that villain problem sounds like it's translating to their villain-centered movie.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make any sense.
So, I mean, maybe writing-wise it can be good. The Bear writer can give some confidence. It all just comes up about how they execute said movie.
Makes sense. Now, you're going to want to listen to this part right here. This is the one that's going to really break your heart, and if I hear it crack in real time, that's going to break my heart. You know what I mean? So it says, Marvel is also cleaning up the creative mess left in the wake of Jonathan Majors, the once rising actor cast to play the villain role in the next Avengers movie, but who in December was found guilty of reckless assault in the third degree and harassment in a Manhattan court after a domestic incident with his ex-partner, a movement coach he met while working on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Marvel dropped Majors hours after the conviction and is rewriting those movies, which will now either minimize the character or excise him entirely. The first of the new Avengers movies due out in 2026 was initially titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, but will be getting a new title to remove the character's name, though sources say that even before Major's conviction, the studio was making moves to minimize the characters after Quantumania underperformed, grossing $476 million.
That's not his fault. Like, I understand him as outside and all that is his thing, but if they were trying to can him before he even got like through his legal problems, it wasn't his fault. He deserved another shot on the big screen. That's insane. It's not his fault. Fuck this movie even more. I wish he would have killed that motherfucker. At least then I would have been like, okay, he had a good stand run. But no, his good stand in Loki. Apparently the show just carries his character better. There's no way. He needed another movie. It just didn't happen because of his legal problems. I'm not saying that to root for him or anything like that, but oh my god, fuck Quantumania all in itself. Oh, he should have killed that motherfucker. Oh my god, Ant-Man should have died.
Ant-Man should have died.
Fuck this movie.
Paul Rudd should have died.
Fuck this movie. Fuck Marvel for bailing as hard as they did. They should have had way more faith. There's no way, regardless of his legal problems. Because if they were already canning it before this, the legal problems don't even play a part in all that at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck! Oh, I want to pay Kevin Feige a visit. Fuck that! Like, that's insane. Oh, that's so irritating.
Now we did have Joe from the Peter Joe podcast on here at one point, and we talked about Loki. We talked about the series and whatnot, and him being in that more general audience POV, had even said that Majors was not very menacing. He wasn't, like, it didn't really hit for somebody within the general audience like it did you and how it did me. Does that kind of play a factor? Do you kind of see that kind of POV when it comes down to Marvel making their decision?
Yes, because in his first big screen debut, he does menacing shit, but he doesn't kill Ant-Man. He should have killed him. They should have had the balls to pull the trigger on Paul Rudd. I know it sucks to hear that, but it would have solidified Kang as a real threat, even if Ant-Man isn't this higher up god. Like, saying you killed Thor and then not being able to kill Ant-Man, like, I found a new passion of hate for Quantumania.
Mm.
And I didn't even think it was possible. Like, I hate this movie just as much as I hate James Gunn. This is insane. But, oh my God. Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot. They can't even blame Kang. They can't even blame Majors. Now they can. Now they can totally be like, oh, legal trouble. Yeah, that's a good out for us right there. But if they were planning to do it before his legal problems, they shot themselves in the foot again and blame someone else for holding the gun. Oh.
They're like, how are we going to get Majors out of here?
Oh my God.
Look, we got to be honest, and, Majors as Kang he had potential. Did he reach the potential? I mean, not really. And yeah, we could put the blame on Marvel. We could put it on Kang. Regardless, something failed there. I could probably say it was Marvel and their lack of balls to pull the trigger on certain things. But for them to call it a retooling and not even like a reboot or whatever, how this article is saying, to me it tells me that regardless, and that's why I was like, oh, you know, when they made that article and we talked about it, where, you know, they basically said they wrote themselves in a corner with Kang. You know, that another report had said that Fahey, when he saw Major's performance, he was really all in for Kang too. So that was more of a maybe something with Fahey where he kind of was looking for who's going to be the next big bad, and when Major's landed on his lap, he was like, this is the one. And I feel like he kind of lost sight of everything else, especially with Chapek having his run, and, you know, Marvel shows needing to be, you know, pumped out. I think it was just a big mishandling of everything that kind of led to this outcome, regardless. And maybe that's just me from behind the scenes point of view. From a movie standpoint, I can honestly say Majors didn't make any sense. It was just, you know, they were throwing stuff at a wall trying to make it stick, and though some things did stick, some things didn't. Yes, it would have hit harder. I think it would have stuck harder if they would have killed Amell, or if, like in the Loki series, he was a little bit more menacing and did a couple, you know, hit a couple blows to the team, you know, covert if necessary, you know, just so they can kind of add that distrust and show that he was this, you know, villain, and not be like, well, this guy can get easily fucking duped by these characters. Why are we invested in him as a villain if you're just gonna, you know, kill him off and bring him back, kill him off? If anything, from a regular audience POV, if I want to think about it, it sounds like a way that they were looking to kind of fix that villain problem, where they just kind of kill their villains. It's just like, oh, well, we killed one variant, he's still around because there's another one down the road, you know?
I don't know. I got fuck.
Yeah, that one's a hard one.
Fuck.
So no longer the Kang Dynasty. No longer. They are retooling. I think this picture perfectly suits it. I like the little illustration they have here. They have Fahey in the bottom of the Fantastic Four car. They have Deadpool buffing it out, and then they have Pedro Pascal over here building it back together, which in a way kind of signifies what they're doing right now, right? We have all these leaks that are happening, all these, you know, things that Marvel's been showing us to our face, knowing that they're going through trouble. Casting Pedro Pascal, somebody who is known and loved, and you see him everywhere, where he even exited roles for this role. Deadpool, where people are looking so forward to this movie, they're willing to forget everything else that happened because of their investment within this film.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a make it or break it kind of year, 100%. And I think I love how, like, self-aware everybody's getting about this all of a sudden, because there was a good minute where shit was bad and we're just like, what the fuck's going on here? And it took a minute for everybody to understand, and now it feels like we're in a process of healing.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks it's at the expense of Majors, but at least we're in that process, right?
It sucks that someone had to bite the dust for someone to figure it out. I wish it would have been anybody else, but no. We are dealing with the cards that are dealt, and I will find peace eventually.
Eventually. Even going up just a little bit further within the Disney executive boardroom, Bob Iger apparently bringing back The Boys, according to Cosmic Book News. So a former editor of THR, I guess works for Puck News, sent a newsletter out to a Disney executive where they got a response back, basically asking whether the politicalization of the Disney brand impacts the box office. So whether the politics that, you know, people are saying is being pushed out there into these Disney movies, woke agenda, whatever, feminist views, women in the forefront, too many women, so much women, MCU, stuff like that, you know, shit Neurotic talks about. The Disney exec's response was this: everyone says it's the movies. Stupid. Which is an easy thing for people to say. More appealing movies are a great way to jump the political issues. But more and more our audience, or the segment of audience that has been politicized, equate the perceived messaging in a film as quality issue. They won't say they find female empowerment distasteful in the Marvels or Star Wars, but they will say they don't like the movies because they are quote unquote bad. So, quote unquote, make better movies becomes code for, quote unquote, make movies that conform to regressive gender stereotypes or put men front and center in the narrative, which is what you're seeing now and what Bob Iger's pivot is about right now, says a Disney executive. Which, if this is what they actually wrote, this first of all sounds like a person who wants to push all this stuff out there. Because what kind of sentence is that? A regression? It says a regression of gender stereotypes or put men front and center in the narrative. How is that a regression? Because you don't want to. First of all, The Marvels was a bad movie. That was a shitty fucking movie. Brie Larson or not, whatever Iman Vellani or not, that was a terrible fucking movie. Is it as bad as Madam Web? Fuck no. But Madam Web is also a female-led movie that is a terrible fucking movie. So you cannot tell me that it's a regression of yada yada whatever bada 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 bada. It's, we want to see our character. I think I seen a video of Grace Randolph. She said this at one point where she did the math and she was like, the women that are watching these movies versus the men. And even the Marvels, more men went to go watch the Marvels than women went to go watch the Marvels. The thing about the superhero genre, people, is that it's about comic books, superheroes. And who is the superhero audience? Who is the one that goes out for comic books? Who is the one that goes out for toys? Now, I'm not saying women don't do that.
It's probably like 1 in every 5.
Exactly. It's a low percentage versus the men.
Yeah.
So men want to see these superhero movies done right. Not just because, we don't want to see Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. No, we would love to see them if their movies were made good. Because superheroes, fuck all that. How many times have anybody was like, I mean, the movie was bad, but people went to go watch it because of Sydney Sweeney. So people are going to watch it as long as the movie's good. And now people, not even Sydney Sweeney can save the damn movie. That's the crazy part.
It's not for, I mean, speaking for myself and not people like Neurotic and all those motherfuckers, it isn't a woman problem because there's badass women characters out there. I said it earlier, Sarah Connor, Ripley, these are badass women characters.
The girl from Prey.
The girl from Prey. We have people in the scare genre that are pretty fucking badass too. You know what I mean? So you can make badass, badass female characters. The movies just have to be as good. It isn't about women in the forefront. It's if the movie's good or not, and the movies just haven't been good. That's not our fault. That is a studio thing. I'm not even like, you know what I mean? Like, like I feel like if you put women in there, it's more, you should be inclined to be like, okay, men are going to want to watch this attractive woman kick ass. The movie just has to land on its feet now. Because you already have the male gaze. Mm-hmm. Sydney Sweeney is a big, you just brought it up. Like, that was a big point. A lot of people were like, oh, this is the plot. This is the plot. If you got a movie so bad that sex appeal can't save you, that is, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, that has to be a problem. Because now people aren't even willing to watch it for the visual aesthetic. Exactly. It's so bad, people won't even go for the visual aesthetic.
And your bare minimum is sex appeal. I'm not saying that should be your main selling point. I'm saying that is bottom of the barrel expectations.
You got to understand, why do you get these hot actors for the forefront? Why do you get people like Brad Pitt? Whatever, the dude from Top Gun.
That's why, right? Yeah, that's why. So it's not so much that they look good and all that, right? That's bottom. I feel like that is bottom barrel like things. If all else fails, hey, this actor looks good enough for me to go check it out, and that's it. Like, I feel like that's everyone's mentality. That's not a sexist thing or anything like that. That is like men and women. Mm-hmm. If your movie can't be as good, that is bottom barrel stuff. If your movie's that bad to where sex appeal fails, you have a shit movie. Mm. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did people watch Magic Mike for the plot? No. Women went to go see it for the men. Are people going to see... I can't even think of like a movie that attracts men like that.
Madam what? I mean, people went to go watch it. A lot of dudes went there to go watch it because of Sydney Sweeney, and I'd say Sony got a lot more money because I'm pretty sure if the movie was as bad and it was Morbius and it was Jared Leto as the lead, not that many people would have given it a chance. It would have been more of a. I know some people that haven't even seen Morbius till this day, but a lot of people went because of the fact that Sydney Sweeney was in there, and a lot of people knew her from Euphoria. A lot of people obviously seen certain scenes that she was in, so people wanted to see her in this movie,
Exactly,
and it just didn't work out.
Exactly.
So I think that's like a big one. I mean, they also said Star Wars as well. They said Daisy Ridley. I personally think that, you know, she did kind of jump up in her training a lot, but that was more of a story thing. It wasn't a. I know some people are like, oh, she's a Mary Sue or whatever, but I'm just more like, in the story itself. I mean, I told you before, if I got to read a comic to kind of catch up on these movies, that doesn't make any sense. When you can easily just throw a training montage like they did in Empire Strikes Back and shit like that, and then, you know, kind of show that she honed her skills together. Or even then, have a natural progression where, because I personally thought in Rise of Skywalker, because, you know, in the trailer they had like that double blade. I was like, natural progression would say she's not good at swinging a lightsaber like that, but a double blade, because she's used to a staff, would benefit her tenfold. You know what I'm saying? And they just completely flaked on that. And that's where I was like, well, that's not natural progression. That's kind of weird. And that I know that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah,
but that's still one of the series where people are like, just, oh, women in the forefront. I fucking hate it. Neurotic was all over Daisy Ridley when all this shit was happening.
Exactly. So I guess to some of these nerds, it's more of like, oh, women in the forefront? No way. Get a guy there. But I say, it doesn't matter who you have there.
As long as the
movie should be good.
Yeah. Atomic Blonde. That was a good one. Charlie Theron was in there.
Sucker Punch was really good. That's probably now that it came to me, that's a great comparison, because if that movie was ass, at least then you have sex appeal.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good movie. Badass movie.
Which a lot of people at the time were equating that movie to just wanting to see girls in skirts and shit like that.
That's not the case.
So what do you think about Disney bringing back the boys?
The quote-unquote men?
The boys. No longer MCU, but MCU again.
Irrelevant. I think it's irrelevant. You have shit movies in the MCU that star men.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Secret Invasion? Y'all remember Samuel L. Jackson?
That was a show. That's
Still.
Dark World. Thor Dark World.
Yeah, that one's bad. Me personally, Wakanda Forever. Oh, that was a woman.
That was a woman.
Sorry.
Well, the first Black Panther.
I like the first Black Panther.
I think it was It wasn't anything crazy. Ragnarok. Or not Ragnarok. Love and Thunder had both. So, what then? Yeah. This argument that it needs to have a male to be successful, it has women, so it's not going to be successful. It's a stupid narrative to have on both sides of the spectrum. I think it doesn't matter who you have in the forefront.
As long as
the movie needs to be good.
Yeah, good storytelling.
The movie needs to be good. It's not rocket science. Doesn't matter who. Yes, get an attractive male and female lead, whoever, so that way you can bank on sex appeal if necessary.
But don't make a shitty movie. Be like, oh, that movie where this woman takes her top off. Yeah, it has a really cool ending where she blows shit up. Not, oh, the woman takes her top off, but the movie was ass. Like, at least then you bank on sex appeal. But if the movie's so shit that you can't bank on that alone, you fucked up. You fucked up bad. It's so shit. The shittiest shit I've ever seen.
But she took her top off, so it was like, it kind of levels it out. But now it's more like, oh, that doesn't save this movie. It doesn't matter male or female. You know what I mean? Chris Hemsworth takes his shirt off all the fucking time. Chris Evans, he took his shirt off hella times in Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I personally go back for that.
But it's like, it's not rocket science. It doesn't matter who you have. If they're attractive enough, make a good movie behind them, and boom. Not only do you have a hot lead, you have a good movie to follow behind it.
Mic drop. There you go. Let us know your guys' thoughts out there on the retooling of Marvel. Let us know if you guys are excited to have the boys back. Do you think that this lady or this exec that is speaking back to us or to Puck News, does she have a point? Is bringing back men into the forefront a regression? I highly doubt it. Let us know your guys' thoughts. retooling is underway. Madam Web apparently was such a collapse that Sony is about to forget about not only this franchise, but their whole spin-off universe. It says here in the Hollywood Reporter, the flop is wiping out an entire plan of new movie series as the studio becomes the latest superhero studio in a need of a pivot. Obviously, we've talked about it not doing too great. 13% on Rotten Tomatoes at the time of recording. People were actually getting refunds for the tickets on opening night. Says here that it marked one of the lowest starts in Hollywood film history based on a Marvel character. Domestic box office for the first 6 days in North America was only 26.2 million. Even a fan-friendly cinema score of a C+, which is extremely low for a superhero title, was just not there. Like DC and the once unstoppable Marvel, Sony is now finding itself in an under the gun to reevaluate how it makes comic book movies. Sony's previous Spider-Man universe movie 2022 Morbius was a critical bust and much maligned by fanboys online, but at least it managed to earn 170 million worldwide. There's no such hope for Madam Web. Plus, the features collapse doesn't just impact this film, but a new potential franchise that Sony had hoped to spin out. The film introduced a trio of supporting characters. It set up the future of which three could have become a team of Spider-Women under the guiding eye of Johnson's Cassie Webb. Now that's not going to happen. We're not going to see another Madam Web movie for another decade plus, quipped one of the industry veterans. It failed. Sony tried to make a movie that was a different type of superhero movie. Madam Web joins the troubling trend of superhero genre. Every live-action comic book movie last year underperformed, aside from Guardians of the Galaxy. Regardless of studio fatigue, has evolved to from a term used by some corners of the fandom to something reluctantly accepted as an industry fact, and is coming at a time when Marvel, DC, and Sony are all attempting a difficult work at rebirthing their new franchises. So Madam Web, directed by S.J. Clarkson, they made sense to avoid the usual tropes and try a more grounded, feeling, suspensive thriller, low-key charm, and moreover, a superhero movie with women and young girls. It did not work. A veteran from the studio says, "I don't know if women are enough to carry a box office here." They also go on to say, "We are in a transition when it comes to superhero movies. I don't know how big the transition is or what the other side looks like. It may be fewer movies but bigger brands. Sony is willing to take some risks, also wants home runs. That's good. And if Sony's upcoming Spider-Man universe title, Kraven, is a gigantic hit, the narrative could be completely different, so it's early to know the outcome." What do you think?
I really hate... After coming off the last topic, I hate hearing this stupid fucking narrative. It doesn't matter who you have in the forefront. Just make a good fucking movie. Madam Web was shit. And that will be fine. Eventually. Shit movies happen. But we want better movies to ignore the shit movies. I really feel like if this movie was enough to tank their whole little Marvel spinoff or enemy spinoff thing, fine. A1. Good shit for that, because I mean these movies weren't doing anyone any favors either.
Madam Web was like the last nail in the coffin.
Hopefully Venom 3 is just a little wrap around the box, and we never hear of this shit again, and they just take a different approach. If you really want to do spin-offs of characters, do the super heroes, not the super villains, just to make them anti-heroes. Or get creative. If you want to make a Morbius sequel, have him be the fucking bad guy. Mm-hmm. If you want to do superhero shit with characters of an IP that you won't dare use anyway, Peter Parker, there are other Spider-Men that you could be looking into. You can give Miguel O'Hara a try. Spider-Man Noir is getting a show. Silk is getting an overhaul of a show. You can make your Miles Morales live action if you really wanted to. You can do Mayday. You could do all these other Spider people if you really don't want to touch Peter Parker. I've suggested Ben Reilly. He's essentially Peter Parker, but with an identity crisis. There's a number of people that you could do, and it'll probably work. But this villain route thing wasn't working in the first place, and you really haven't done much with Venom. I thought he was probably going to be like the real lethal protector. We probably would have seen him go up against Morbius, something like that. Make him the protector that we were expecting.
I didn't want that, though.
But even then. But even then. Like, that was an idea they could have explored if they really wanted to.
Yeah, but I think that would have made people mad.
Okay. But that's not what I don't care about that. It's all hypothetical.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of other ways to be going this. Madam Web derailing the whole train. I don't really care. Kraven, make it a tax write-off if you're that hurt by what Madam Web did. And then just let Venom 3 be the little rap.
Yeah. Word on the street is saying that if Kraven does well, they'll reinvent the franchise around Kraven. If it doesn't do well, that apparently all this can just be folded into the MCU, and that Sony might just be doing these one-off films to, obviously keep the rights, but they're just gonna focus on the animation and just the MCU side. So this Kraven movie might be the make it or break it. But then we also got Venom 3 coming out, which I just think by Venom 3 there should be a Spider-Man. There should be a Spider-Man in that world if you guys are going to try to figure it out. I know having that Disney Marvel contract saying that you probably can't use Spider-Man because, what the fuck was that? You couldn't even name drop him in a damn spinoff either. That's ridiculous. And then you had him in a trailer and then you didn't actually put him in the movie. It tells me that they're teasing it to try to make it to seem like there's a Spider-Man around, but they know they can't use it. They know that, it'll breach contract and basically, I don't know. I'm thinking worst case scenario, push the Spider-Man IP back into Marvel's hands if the contract is broken. So I'm pretty sure there's something there that says they can't use Spider-Man. And so if they can't use Spider-Man, just focus all on the MCU. Give them all the villains. There's no reason why Tom Hardy should be out here by himself, which I know it's kind of hard to see Tom Hardy versus this Peter Parker. But if this is what we have, fucking bring him into the MCU. And they already kicked him out, but now they're gonna have to come back in. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just all this jumbled up shit for what? Like if Pascal wasn't so greedy and the studio wasn't so greedy, they could just easily found a way that they can make the fans happy over here and just put out little movies, I guess you could say Elseworld films, with this iteration of Venom or this iteration of Morbius or whatever you want to do. And then, if it flops, it flops, and people could just be like, well, they're not doing good over here, but at least with the MCU, we have something to look forward to.
I don't know. Anything other than what they've been doing. I really don't care for it as long as it's something different, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, that different can totally be bad too. Hopefully they fix their problem because this shit ain't working. The fact that Madam Web just derailed the whole train is crazy though.
Yeah, they're just like, fuck, we can't do what we plan to do.
Better
anymore.
This one than getting down to El Muerto and then just like tanking that one too. So
that's true. Let us know if you guys heard or have you guys seen Madam Web? Have you guys watched it for Sydney Sweeney? Do you guys feel like women can't hold up a box office? I don't think that's the case. I just think we need better movies. Let's make better movies. Moving on to our last couple of trailers. First things first, we got a Borderlands trailer, Josh. Now, I don't know if you know Borderlands like that. It's a video game. They're adapting it into an actual movie. Now, as the curse says that this can't be done. We've seen Uncharted do what it did and it was not good. Now we're here at Borderlands. I think the only Assassin's Creed attempted, not that good. The Last of Us is the only, I guess, good adaptation. Even then,
well, no, there's Sonic and Detective Pikachu and all that.
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, that was game.
But I don't know how well that did. It didn't even get a sequel. Sonic got a sequel way before that one did. I'd say Sonic was a banger for sure. I mean,
I
people
thought
had
they were in talks for a sequel.
They had to bully the studio. Yeah, apparently there's a sequel in the works, but I don't think it had enough box office to back up to justify a sequel like immediately.
No.
It's
Well,
probably it'll probably happen, but like in a few years.
Well, then Sonic, The Last of Us. That would be it.
Yeah, so we got a Borderlands adaptation. Got a good, actually a good cast. We got Kate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Edgar Ramirez, Ariana Greenblatt, Florine Montu, Gina Gershon, and Jamie Lee Curtis. So it's a pretty stacked cast. This is the one that had to go through reshoots for the action scenes with Tim Roth, who made Deadpool, the first Deadpool. So that kind of tells you something. But Eli Roth is the actual, what's his name? The actual director of this film. So let's just jump right in. We'll get our thoughts afterwards. The first scene just looks kind of, the orange hair kind of throws me off already, but we'll see.
Uh-oh. God, I hate this planet.
Would you look at that? A ladder! Unfortunately, my design doesn't facilitate this type of...
Well, destiny awaits.
He said, actually, I can. It's really helping. Keep looking at me. Very...
I think it all looks pretty good. The only one that iffy, I gotta be real, Kevin Hart. He's the only oddball here that I feel like doesn't work.
I think him and the orange hair lady, I think them two kind of look weird for me. I think the rest of it kind of makes sense. I wish they would have casted a couple other people. It gives me like Suicide Squad / what's that movie? That movie that I seen, and I told you that you had to watch it, but you didn't want to watch it. It had Chris Pine in it.
Oh, the Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, it gives me those vibes.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's good or bad. I'll check it out. I don't know anything about the game, so maybe going into this fresh with no game knowledge could be cool. So I mean, I'll be down to check it out. This one looks fine.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna just have to get over Kevin Hart. Everyone else looks cool.
I mean, he might be funny in this one.
Maybe. I think Jack Black might carry for sure. Though.
Yeah, he sounded like they put him a lot in the trailer, so I'm thinking he's gonna be like that comic relief that's gonna be everywhere, and then him and Kevin Hart bouncing off each other might be hilarious. So I mean, don't quote me. I know Kevin Hart's kind of not been the funniest as of lately, but I think it might be decent. But check out the trailer; it's out right now. Borderlands, stacked cast. I thought it was pretty cool, and even that Ariana Greenblatt. She's the one who played Ahsoka and all that. So it's cool. She's like everywhere now. She was in Barbie too, so I mean, she's getting casted. Yeah, she got that role. Unlike we haven't talked about her all year, but unlike Rachel Zegler. Moving on though, we got a new movie from Sony called Daddy-O. Has Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn. So this is another Dakota Johnson led movie. I thought we should watch the trailer for it so we could probably look into this movie when it releases to see what kind of acting chops she kind of has, because I am not watching 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not, and I have not seen her in anything else besides Madam Web, and so I really want to know if she has other acting chops. Okay, I want to know if she has something like another gear, like something that's gonna really make you be like, you know what, she's not just somebody in a sex movie and in a bad movie, but in a good movie, right? Yeah, right. Any comments, questions, or concerns about this trailer before we jump in?
No.
Just Dakota Johnson.
Just go in. Yeah.
No, nothing.
No.
All right, we're jumping in.
44th between 9th and 10th.
Want some radio?
Not really.
What's his name?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, I see. He's married. I'm gonna drive a cab 20 years and not know people.
Why do you care?
Who else you gonna talk to about this? Not like you're ever gonna see me again.
The entire movie's gonna be in the cab.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Oh, they're gonna need some acting chops. They're gonna need you feeling every single thing.
They were raving about it right there,
Yeah.
saying that Dakota Johnson can act or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. Deadline. I seen Deadline.
Skeptical, very skeptical. This feels like, would be like a deep, touchy-feely kind of movie. So maybe it can work. Maybe this will give you the chops of which
She can show.
Proves, yeah.
It seemed kind of cheesy, but I actually like those kinds of cheesy movies. I don't really mind like one setting movies as long as they can captivate you with like the way they talk and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm not really opposed to this one. I'm just like, the trailer was just too corny. Like I know you guys probably just like heard the little like bells or whatever, but that's just corny.
Yeah,
That was corny.
the trailer didn't help much.
No, I'm hoping that the movie's better and maybe they were just trying to appeal like. To like so it could be more like a couples movie, like a relationship movie, like, oh yeah, we gotta watch this together kind of thing. So I get that, but I mean, other than that, I think another trailer or either that or just put out the movie at this point. Like, is it gonna be streaming?
It said this summer.
Yeah, it just said this summer, huh? Didn't even say like streaming or anything. Nope, just a teaser trailer, just a teaser. Oh yeah, I don't know. This one, I don't know what to say anymore. Moving on.
We'll keep an eye out for this one, I guess.
Daddy-O trailer out right now. Let us know you guys' thoughts. With that being said, though, that's going to be our last topic of this episode. This one was a girthy one. So we'll go ahead and we'll just, where to talk to us, Josh. If you could let them know one more time where they can give us a movie to review, want to support us in a big way, or catch a live one of these days.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and FilmBros Podcast. Post new episodes or episodes up there. For any news or movies you want us to cover, Buzzsprout links in the bounds of the socials I just gave you. It's like a Patreon. You help you subscribe. You get special perks. We shout you out. We'd appreciate it. Catch a live on Twitch at FilmBros Podcast. Listen to us anywhere you get your podcast at FilmBros Podcast. Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts. Check us out. And when it's all said and done, subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.